Hi, my name is Reagan DeLemus. Welcome to the beginning of a series I'd like to call Preparing for the Concert Moshpit. In this series, I'm going to be talking about the small things like what merch you should be saving up for to buy, all the way up to how to prepare for the actual concert moshpit with a workout plan. If you guys are new to the channel, please like and subscribe and share this with your friend. Let's get right into it. All right, so the first thing that we're going to be talking about is layout and pricing. Now, if you're working on Ticketmaster, SeatGeek, whatever, you will be able to tell if it's a free seating venue or if it's a fixed seating venue. A free seating venue will have like one or two, depending on how many levels there are to the venue. The lower, sometimes, most of the times being a bit more expensive since you are closer to the artist, but there will be cheaper tickets from further away. The floor seats and the elevated seating will be around the same price. The elevated seating will usually be a little bit cheaper. So for the fixed seating, we're using a stadium as an example. And you see all these little dots right here, just all around. These are all going to be different pricing. And since it's a stadium, you can imagine that the big artist that's going to be performing there is going to have, even if it's in the very, very back, you're still going to be paying around $100. Now, the closer that you get down to the stage, the more you're going to be spending money. If you get to about right here, you're going to be spending $300 to $500 to get this close to the artist. And for me personally, that's not really worth it. So before you start buying your tickets, make sure that it's a free blanket priced venue over a fixed seating venue. You don't want to be sitting down the entire time. You don't want to be stuck in stadium seats. And just really quick, I'm just going to play a video on why I don't think you should be sitting at a concert.
Hold on. Yeah. Yo, we got a problem. The crowd isn't moving. What's going on? I take this side, you take this side. Freestyle live. Killer, here we go. Like the waxy residue on your rhyme style is ridiculous. If you're misogynist, then you probably cannot get with this. If you sip with this, we'll leave no witnesses. See, nobody can touch one job less, and I mean this. So I'll be like Osiris, ready to get the mices. If you talking females, it's to say that I'm the nicest. Watch the sexy up my crew, he be the lyrical prophet. If you put the fat beat on the freestyle, he will drop it, yo. I come with many gifts. Who's to be my nemesis? If you want to battle this,
Now, as you saw in that video, the first thing that they said was that there was no energy in the entire venue. And why is that? Everybody was sitting down. How are you going to be like, dude, you start jumping around in your seat? Nobody's doing that. If you're sitting and there's one person standing in front of you, you're like, oh, okay, well, now I can't see the artist. Now I have to stand up. And then you just got a weird chain going on where you got like a puddle of people that were sitting down, but now they're standing up because one dude was like, yeah, I love Lauryn Hill. Like,
oh yeah, and one more thing. At the very end of the clip, you just see everybody's energy go right back down to zero, man. That guy was doing windmills with his hands, and then he stopped right when the video ended. And, shout out Lauryn Hill, amazing musician, very talented rapper, but I don't know, the venue selection was just poor on her part. In that situation, and I don't know if that was just like a trend going on, but me personally, bro, do not get me in a seated venue, man. I don't want to sit down.
So now that we've talked about free and fixed seating, now we're going to go over the max capacity and how it affects the crowd in the venue. All right, so the first venues that we're going to talk about are the small ones. We're going to build up as we go. The venues that I used as an example is the Chapel. This was under 1,000 people in the venue. Now, one of the biggest pros I will say off the jump is that there was no fixed seating. There were the two options, like the free seating, and I think you actually had to pay a little bit more to be higher up. But why would you pay more to be further away from the artist that you came to see? So I saw that as a very big pro. Now we're going to go down the line and just talk about each one of these. The stage view.
All right, so the very first venue, like I was saying, is the chapel. Here's a little drive-by view because we didn't have enough time. Very small venue. You guys can see that. And the thing that I want to say is, like, the smaller the venue, the closer you are going to be to the artist. If you get there earlier, it's even better. I was in, I'll call it DAP up range with Leon Thomas at the Independent, but that one, I think it was a little bit bigger. It was, I can't say for sure. Hold on. The Independent was a max capacity of 500 people, while the chapel was a whopping 1,000, the full max of the small venue.
Ticket price.
Depending on the artist, of course. If the artist is up and coming, the tickets are not going to be that expensive. Probably in the $60 to $80 range, maybe even cheaper. There are some venues that make you pay a little bit extra, sometimes for the balcony, sometimes for the floor. Most of the time, you can go wherever since the venue is so small.
Noise clarity.
I can assure you, you will be able to hear every single instrument as clear as day. If you don't feel comfortable with loud environments, make sure you buy some form of earplugs. Okay, the regular earplugs will work fine, but if concerts are becoming a habit, then I would suggest a set of high fidelity earplugs. These will protect your eardrums from the shake of the sound waves while keeping the clarity of the music. The earplugs I bought were from Hear Protect. They're cheap, under $20, and they work great.
Tight space.
And the last pro for the small venues, tight space. You would think that this would be a con, and it can be if you get claustrophobic easily or you don't do the workout plan in time, but it's really not. Once the mosh pit starts, it will be one mosh pit, one big mosh pit. I'll go over the different sections of the crowd in a later video.
And now that we've gone over all of the pros, now we're going to start talking about the cons. 0 big artists.
The biggest artists in the industry are going to be in stadiums. On a rare occurrence, they might do a show in a small venue, but it's very unlikely.
Noise clarity.
I already covered this, but the sound can be overwhelming for some people. Just make sure you have some kind of ear protection. Not all venues are the same. Some will be louder than others.
Parking.
Small venues might only have street parking available. Now, in my opinion, I think the best time to get there is around like 45, maybe 30 minutes if you really want to push it before the doors actually open. But aside from that, the only thing I really need to say about that is to download an app called ParkWiz. It will show you all the parking garages in the area, and you could reserve a spot months in advance. I just did that with a concert that I went to with Jeremy. We went to Boy with Uke, and I kid you not, the parking spot was across the street.
Tight space.
Aside from being claustrophobic or not doing my workout plan, it could be difficult to maneuver through a small venue crowd. People want to keep their spots, whether you're trying to get closer or you're trying to go to the bar. And you know what? I got a funny story about that. The first time that I went to Boy with You, I'm chilling, we're having a good time, and this lady, I'm like, okay, Jeremy, I'm gonna go get us drinks. I'm gonna go get you water. He's like, oh, okay, thank you. And there's a path. There's steps that lead me like right to the bar. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Let me just guide my way through. I'm saying, excuse me, very politely. I try to be a respectful person. And I get to the very, very end. And it's kind of a narrow stairway. And I say, excuse me, because I thought I was going to be, I don't know, I thought I was going to, I won't go on a tangent about it. But this lady cut me off and she's like, no, you're going to take my spot. Take your spot. I'm closer than you, lady. Lady, please let me get by. And she wouldn't let me get by. I had to take the long way around to get to the water and to drop it off. But most of the time, people will let you by, so don't even worry about that story. I just thought it was funny.
Moving from the small venues, we're going to be moving up to the medium venues. My example is the Warfield, also in San Francisco, California. And medium venues are 1,000 to 5,000 people max capacity. Now, you notice that the pros and the cons didn't change that much. There's no reason to change them. You're still going to get a great stage view. You're still going to get good ticket prices. The only real big differences are the fact that the big artists, the bigger that the venues are, the bigger or the higher the chance that the big artists are going to be performing there. One con that becomes a pro the bigger the venue is parking. The bigger that the venue is, the more places you'll be able to park. It won't just be street parking like in the small venues. The stadium parking, you'll be around the stadium and so on and so forth, up and down the list.
So if you look around here, this is the front of the Warfield, and if you look immediately to the right, there's a gentleman's club. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. But anyway, here's the inside. I didn't really get a real pan of the entire concert. I was focusing more on, the music, and I was trying to record for my brother so he could enjoy it too. More on that later. But another thing I gotta say is, like, if you're over like 6 foot, more power to you, because you could just hold your arm up really, really high and you're just towering over all the other people. You don't even need to worry about, oh man, like, am I getting the right angle, but through all these arms? Like, nah, bro, you're good. You're good. I was competing with children at this concert, but a win is a win, baby. All right, let me tell you another story. I saw Baby Keem at the Warfield in 2022. The friend I was planning on going with bailed on me a few hours before I was going to leave, and that just left me in like a frantic panic. I was calling random people, and I was like, "Yo, man, you trying to come along, man? Free ticket, free ticket." Like, nah, man, I got work. And you know what? I looked inside and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go alone. And that was the first time that I went to a concert by myself. I was a little nervous at first, like especially in line. Nobody was there that I knew. I didn't really have anybody to talk to until I got inside. Now, once I made it inside of the room, it was full of electricity. The concert was in April out in San Francisco, so the warmth of a couple thousand bodies warmed us all up. I met these two guys once I settled into my spot. We promised not to split up. And you know what? I finally made a home base. So the concert starts. Tena Leon opened for Baby Keem. The downside of not doing your research on who is opening is that you can't listen to their music beforehand. At the first concert I went to, Tizo Touchdown was one of the openers, and this was back in 2021 when he didn't have any albums, no big features, nothing. All he had were those singles with like that light blue background, which was sick, but it was just there wasn't really a flow. The only thing I could do was just shuffle it, shuffle all of his music. I couldn't listen through an entire album. So I listened to a few of the albums or a few of the singles, wasn't really feeling them, and then I went to the concert. Tizo plays technically. And technically his chorus goes, her favorite spot is Turkey Leg Hut. She eat it and pray that it go to her butt. She said she vibing with me, but our lifestyles won't sync up. Girl, break my heart if you must. Step on it, turn into dust. Technically, I'm still your crush. Technically, can we still? And then it goes, like it bleeps out. It bleeps out what he's gonna say. And dude, I think that's got to be one of the songs that I heard when I was trying to listen to Tizo for the first time, because I was like, who bleeps out their own music, bro, on the explicit version? Like, I heard you say other curse words in here. What's going on? So I'm upset. I go there. He goes, her favorite spot is Turkey Leg Hut. She eat it and pray that it go to a bus. He said she's vibing with me, but our lifestyles won't sync up. Girl, break my heart if you must. Step on it, turn it into dust. Technically, I'm still your crush. Technically, can we still? And I'm like, oh, dude, here comes the bleep. And like, I'm not gonna like cover my ears, but I'm like, okay, yeah, here it comes. And he just goes, fuck. And I'm just like, what, dude, like, or I didn't even realize it until after the fact, because I didn't want to listen to that song anymore, bro. Like, why are you bleeping your own music? So the moral of that story is, if you're not familiar with the openers, especially if they don't have too many songs, play them all through at least once. You can even start at the top and go down to their less popular songs. And that happened here too. Tenna Leon played songs nobody knew, bro. He played Lucky, he played With the Villains, and everybody knew those songs. But yo, he started playing this. He started playing his unreleased album, bro. His new album came out 2 weeks after that concert, bro. It was so cool. And that's another thing that can happen. The artists will just start playing unreleased music, and if you don't listen to their music before, or if they don't like explicitly say it's unreleased, you won't know. Do your research. Thank me later. So Tenna Leon finishes his set, and I'm still chilling with my brand new friends, and Baby Keem starts his set. I kid you not, he plays Trademark USA, his intro to Melodic Blue, and the crowd shuffles cards. My new friends are torn away from me, and I see them in bits and pieces throughout the rest of the concert. The concert was so loud, bro. Like, I was really close to that right speaker, so that was not helping at all, bro. And there were so many people moshing in the pit that by the end of the night, my entire hoodie was drenched in sweat. And while I was writing the script, I was trying to remember why I was wearing my hoodie in the first place. So the reason that I met those two people were because the security guard walked away. There were 2 levels to the ground floor, and the security guard that was blocking the like main, like right in front of the stage, like he walked away for a second. He just disappeared. And these 2 guys are just like, yo, come on, let's get closer. And I go with them, bro. I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. And that's when I started talking to them. So anyway, my shirt was soaking wet from my sweat, and my hoodie was drenched in sweat from everybody else. And you know what? I'll show a picture right now of how I looked at the very end of that night. But do I condone sneaking to a better spot? That is a good question. If you're really tall, then no, because I almost got caught during that event Tizo was at. I hopped over this fence, and I kid you not, immediately after I jumped it, the security guards started yelling and like checking everyone's wristband. I'm like, oh man, dude, I'm ruining the fun for everybody else. And like, if you're shorter, like the tall people have their advantage in the sense that they could stick their hands up and they could point the camera straight at the concert, right at the stage, right at the artist, with no problem at all. But your advantage is you could sneak in super easy and nobody would notice, man. Like, it's a huge advantage to have, and I'm kind of jealous that I don't have it. I'm glad that I have my height, but it's like I said, it's got its pros and cons. The friend I went with, he jumped the fence later, and I could see him having the time of his life in the mosh pit. I was so jealous, but I still had a great time, even though I wasn't constrained to the spot I had paid for. So I'm a little on the fence about it. I feel I feel better about moving from your spot when you're at a concert than at a basketball game or something. Since better lighting, like there's better lighting and there's a lot more security at like basketball games and stuff like that. I'm definitely not sneaking down there. Like at that point, just if you if you can't pay for the more expensive ticket, then don't move up there, because I don't know, it's not like you're obviously going to get caught. You're not going to get caught every single time, but I'm just saying, like, don't get banned because you're broke, because then you'll just be broke and you won't be allowed to go to the Kings game, man. Come on. Like, yeah, if you don't have the money to be closer, don't try to get closer, but it's really up to you if you want to risk it. I'm going to say no, but trust me, you're gonna have a good time anywhere in the venue. Bro, I walked half a mile already. My sweatshirt is still soaked. Hair is still wet. I'm about to die, bro.
The next type of venues are big venues going from 5,000 to 10,000 people max capacities. My example was the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium, also in San Francisco, California. Moving from the pros and cons that will repeat throughout all of the venues, I wanted to talk about the artist demographic. The artist demographic, the bigger the artist, the more that people are going to pay attention to their style. The more that people are going to know all the words to their songs and just have such a great time just screaming their lungs out.
Every once in a while, you'll see some TikTokers, man. I saw this TikToker that was wheeling himself around in a wheelchair, and he just had this big old green sign that read "Moshpit here," and that was awesome. And here we are at the Don Toliver concert. Ski Mask was opening, and this is me lifting up that very wheelchair kid. And this is what I do to TikTokers, man. This is what I do to TikTokers. Y'all better watch out. Y'all better. Nobody was harmed in the making of this video.
On the other hand, the cons, the highest injury chance. I'm going to be making a mosh pit workout video very soon, very, very soon. I'm very excited for it. I don't think I've said very enough, but if you don't do the workout video, you're gonna get hurt. If you don't know how to protect yourself in a mosh pit, you're gonna get hurt. It would be best just to stay in the elevated seating if you're not prepared for the mosh pit. That's actually not true. I feel like just stay on the outskirts. So make sure that you come for the mosh pit workout video coming real soon. The other con are tardy cardies. Shout out Playboy Cardi for helping me coin this name. And this doesn't just go for artists that are going to show up late to a concert, like 15, 20 minutes. I heard a while back, like Kanye showed up like at like 10. The concert started at 8 or something like that. And then he left early too. It's just disrespectful, man. Like you have this audience that, just loves your music, and they're paying you to perform the music that you made and that you love, but you're just going to pull up late. Like that's just weird. But tardy cardies are not just artists that are late. They're also artists that don't show up at all or reschedule repeatedly. And that's why I call it tardy cardies, because I was supposed to be going to a Cardi concert like a year or two ago. It was when he was promoting Narcissist. He wasn't even talking about I Am Music.
Yeah, no, this was back in the day, back in between like October to December time, when he was like, "All right, guys, we're gonna be going on tour soon, and while I'm on tour, I'm gonna be playing some unreleased I Am Narcissist or like Narcissist music," and everyone's like super hyped about it, and then it just never happened. It just never happened. But we got I Am Music. Gotta be grateful, but at the same time, he just like trashed a whole album and then dropped another one. Like whatever. Hey, I'm just gonna circle back to Boy with Uke for the third time in this video. Boy with Uke was late. And that was a small venue. That was Ace of Spades out in Sacramento, California. And while we were waiting for him to pull up, he had chess.com open and he was playing matches. And dog, he was losing, bro. That had me so upset, bro. We met this guy out there. We met this guy while we were in line named Will. And, you know, he plays chess.com too. And we're just like, nah, dude, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't go there. And then, like, bro, let me see if I can find some clips. Hold on. Okay, I found the footage. And the thing that is really infuriating me right now is I checked the timestamps, and the timestamps are 20 minutes apart, bro. It was like 8:30, 8:51. So I'm assuming he started at 9. I'm really hoping he did, but that could not be the case. But the worst part was that he was losing, man. Like I'm just gonna start doing that with this, bro. I really, you know, I started just like, you know, I'm just playing Wii boxing, man. If I lose, bro, I'm gonna show it, bro. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You know what kind of upsets me now that, you know, that now that we're you know, pointing out the elephant in the room. Even if I win, I still lose points sometimes, and you know, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. Like they knocked me out 2 times. I knocked them out 3 times, and they stayed down, and I still lose 7 points. Like, what's going on with that? So the last thing I will say is never trust a tardy Cardi. He did it this year too, man. I'm never going back to a Boy with You concert. I'm never going back to a Boy with You concert. I'm never going back to a Boy with You concert.
So to close us off with the big venues, the pros are the bigger the artist's venue, the bigger the artist demographic. And the cons, the highest injury chance. Also, the injury chance isn't even that high. Okay. Injury, I'd put in the category of injury like overheating, maybe like fainting because it's so warm and everyone's so packed in, but nobody, or it's very, very rare when people like actually get hurt. And this is all dependent on the concert that you are going to and the artist and how hype it is, so on and so forth. And the final one, the tardy Cardis. If you're dealing with tardy Cardis, just be like a little bit on the edge. Like if they have a reputation for dipping before a show, be a little bit more skeptical when you're buying that ticket. And another thing, if you do pay for the ticket and they do cancel, what will happen is SeatGeek or Ticketmaster, they will give you credits, a credited refund. But if you talk to some type of the help center, the support, then they will give you a full refund on your ticket. So the last thing that I will say about this branch of venues is these are the most common. I prefer these ones more than the ones that are going to be following this one, the more unique venues that you don't get to go to every day. But make sure that you do your research and make sure that you know where the free and the fixed seating venues are.